Welcome to Outliers Get to Know. I'm your host, Tracey Devlyn, and I am here with award-winning author Angela Shupe to chat about her debut novel, In the Light of the Sun. Welcome to the show, Angela.
Thank you so much, Tracy. It's such a pleasure to be here. So thank you. I appreciate
Um,
that.
I'm so happy to talk to you about this amazing book. Before we get there, though, as a debut novelist, I know that you that there's so many firsts. I guess there's nothing quite like your first book release. All of them are amazing and fun and just a great time to see your new book on the shelf, whether it's virtual or physical. But that first book, there's so many firsts. You got your agent, your first edits, you get to see your cover for the first time, then you get to hold your book for the first time.
Yeah.
I know this is an unfair question. I'll admit that right off the bat, but which one thrilled you the most?
Oh my goodness.
Which first
Oh, that
thrilled
that
you
would
the
be hard to
most?
say.
Yeah.
I think signing the contract with the with my publishing company,
Hmm.
it would be, because this was many years in the makings.
Ah, yeah. 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 Oh, did we freeze up? I think we froze.
So that was
Oh,
a okay.
sorry, I think we froze up there for a few seconds.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, we'll just I can cut that out. Yeah, you were saying you signed your contract. That was your thrilling
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, I think that was. And also, I will say also, when I saw the cover for the first time, I was just,
It's
blown
gorgeous.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really
the
gorgeous.
lady Laura is the cover designer's name, and she just I had no idea how they were going to capture the Philippines and Italy,
Hmm.
on the page and combine the two because they're so different. But she did a beautiful job. So that was a
Yeah.
very moving moment. Very much,
And
yeah.
and she got the feel of the historical element, the World War II, just I don't know
Yeah.
if they call that sepia or something like that, kind of that
Yeah.
that tannish kind of color. It looks aged a little bit,
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah. She
yeah,
did a
no,
beautiful
that's
job. Yeah.
you absolutely did. All right, great. It's always nice to love your first cover because you hear some stories sometimes. You never know if you're gonna like it or not. So it's great that you
Yeah.
you really love it. All right. Well, before we get to talking about your book, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your writing journey, just whatever you're comfortable with.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I started out writing in my jobs different jobs that I had worked many, many years ago. I did some editorial work for a reference publishing company, actually. And then I did communications work for a school district. And so writing was a part of both of those jobs. And when I had my son, I have two kids, but when I had my son, I decided to stay home with him for a period of time and wanted to try freelance writing. And so I started doing that, doing personal essays, and then moved into doing some short stories, and always had this story kind of, on my heart, kind of carried it around with me since I was a child. And then kind of slowly, very, very slowly moved my way into doing research and seeing if I could do this or not. I'm looking at this because I have the book sitting there, so I'm looking
Yeah.
down at it. But yeah, it was a very long process that I think I needed the confidence. I think doing some of the short story writing and doing some workshops helped. It certainly helped with learning craft, but also
Mhm.
the there are two people in particular who were running those two different workshops that were very I would say instrumental in giving me the confidence to say, no, you can do this, go ahead and dive into it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a very long journey though. I will
Yeah.
tell you, Tracy, it was a very long journey. So yeah.
Well, I think we all, not everyone, but many writers tend to go on a little bit of a wandering journey before they get published for their first time. So don't let that bother you or anything. I've been there too myself. So, but it's great that you had a couple of mentors there that helped you and gave you that confidence that you could, build a novel. Writing short stories, you might some people who have never done it might think that that's an easy thing to do, but it's really hard to condense a fully,
Yeah.
fledged story into whatever it was, 5,000 words, 10,000 words, whatever the case might have been. But yeah, no, that was great. That was great
Yeah.
training grounds for you.
Yes, it was. Yeah, very much so.
All right,
Yeah.
good. Well, without further ado, why don't you tell us a little bit about this amazing story?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In the Light of the Sun is the title, and it is a World War II story. It's inspired by my mom's family story. And it's about two sisters who are both aspiring sopranos. The younger sister is in the Philippines with her family in Florida Blanca, and she's getting close to being able to follow her dream of with their grandmother, their Nona, to voice train. But when the Japanese bomb the US air bases near their home, everything changes.
Yeah.
And she and her family are forced to flee their home, and they flee to their aunt and uncle's home that is in the mountainous jungles of Luzon. But they find out pretty quickly they can't outrun the war. And she comes face to face with the savage Japanese military. I mean, it was a very horrific situation. And at the same time, her older sister, Rosa, was in Florence, Italy, and she was finishing up her voice training at the Luigi Cherubini Conservatory and getting ready to debut as a professional soprano and navigating this very odd world that was very opulent, but at the same time, kind of a scary place under Mussolini's regime, and very oppressive with his henchmen, the black shirts as well. And pretty soon, when the Germans end up marching on the city, she starts to question whether the people closest to her are keeping secrets. She grows suspicious of that. And she also starts to question herself whether she should be fighting alongside the resistance. And before the war actually ends, she'll end up being faced with a decision that is the most difficult decision she'll life, one that is really a life and death decision um, for the one that she loves the most. So yeah, and it is a story, like I said, that's inspired by my mom's family. And my mom, just like Caramina in the book, grew up in the Philippines and was there during the war. And she had her grandmother, my great grandmother, was a former soprano who sang with two different opera companies that traveled, two different Italian opera companies. And she did have an older sister, one of my aunts, who actually did go to Italy and was voice training with their grandmother during the war. So these two sisters experienced this war, but on two very, very different war fronts. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. I didn't I understood that this was based off of, some of your family's experience, but it sounds like it's a lot closer than what I had in my head as I was writing this. Before we hit the record button, you had mentioned that your mom has two brothers too, just like in the
Yes.
story.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I've read a lot of World War II stories before, but I don't recall ever reading one that at least took place in the Philippines and that it also had this kind of musical angle, which I found fascinating. I learned a lot
Yeah.
about the that kind of that musicality part of it as well. And but the Philippines, oh my gosh, I want to go there just for the mangoes alone.
Yes, I know. I know. I know. It is a beautiful place. It's such a beautiful place. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It would be yeah, sadly I have not I hesitate to say this, but I have not been there personally. And my mom growing up I remember, asking her many times if she would, if she wanted to go back. And I think I was in high school and I was thinking, one day when I get a job, like I'll take you, Mom. We can go back. And she didn't want to go back. And I think her memories of what happened during the war, I think really
yeah.
made it difficult. So, but that said, it is a very beautiful country and a very unique. I think we were talking a little bit before we came on, and it's just a country of hundreds of islands. I mean, it's a very very unique place. So
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody gets a chance to go on Angela's website, you actually share pictures of your mom and her family on there, which I loved. It was like looking through a photo album or something. It was a nice touch. And I could
Thank
see
you.
if your mom was there during that time period, even if she experienced, a tenth of what Caramina experienced, that would
Yeah.
be very, very scarring, kind of a PTSD
Yes.
type of thing. Yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that for sure. And I
Yeah.
love that there's not just Rosa and Caramina, there's also Isabella as well, a third
Yeah.
sister that has a little bit smaller part in the story, but I
Hmm.
really love that you gave them all three, they all had love interests. And I was
Yeah.
curious, is that something that you planned out, or is that something that just kind of organically happened as you wrote the story?
You know, I think it kind of well, I I had plotted the story before, starting, and the story was really written kind of in in two chunks, I will tell you.
Okay.
Originally, it was the Caramina narrative alone, and then later I made the decision to add the Rosa narrative to have kind of a more mature viewpoint as well on
Yeah.
the war, Um, but I did actually, I mean, I plotted it to have that they would have love interests, yes.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, but I mean, I guess in plotting it, I could about organically, I didn't
No,
really,
that's great.
the story, obviously it's very fictional. I mean, it's fictionalized
Yeah.
from their specific accounts, the real accounts of what happened. But, yes, yeah, I thought my both of my I had to condense my mom had three older sisters, excuse me, three older sisters, one older brother and one younger brother, and I had to condense the sisters down actually into because
Yeah.
there just were so many, and so they really are composites
Hmm.
of them. And but I will say that all three of my mom's older sisters married US servicemen. And so, and yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
cool.
in that sense, in my mind, I think I kind of, I just, I just automatically thought,
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
no, that's great. I think if you would have had in the story, at least, I think if you would have had another sister in there, I think it would have really changed the dynamic between Caramina and Isabella. And I don't know if it would have been in a bad way or not, but I just feel like Caramina had a little bit more. Uh, I don't know if agency is the right term in there or not, but
Okay.
there was just,
Yeah.
yeah, there was just something that I think if you would have brought in another sister, at least into the Philippine story,
Hmm.
that would have been a little bit different, but I really liked how you crafted it in the story. So
Oh,
I guess that's
thank you.
a long comment about well done. I think you did the right
Oh,
thing.
thank you so
I
much.
like the way that
Oh,
you did it in the story.
thank you, Tracy. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, you betcha, you betcha. So I was curious, what do you hope readers take away from this story, or maybe even what they think about, long after they close this book?
Yeah. I There are a couple things. I think the first thing would be just um, a knowledge about, or more knowledge about what happened in the Philippines. When I was young, when I was a kid, growing up, I was aware of the fact that many people, in fact, most people around our family, um, it just people didn't seem to have an understanding that of what transpired in the Philippines. And it was such a life-altering thing that and even as an adult, I've come across that too, because it's just not something that is, like you said, it's not in fiction, so people don't know, So I
Yeah.
really wanted to bring that out because it was so life-altering for the Filipino people. So I hope people take, readers take away that knowledge base. I hope that they take away. I hope they walk away from the story with I hope it engenders empathy in
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
for when we encounter, people that maybe seem different in some way, um, I think I think it's I don't know. We can be a little bit blasé. I really hope that people walk away, with a degree of empathy for people. And
Sure.
I touch on it in the book, but there was in the Philippines, my mom did actually, my mom and her sisters did experience this. There was some because they were mestiza,
Mm,
they experienced some degree of discrimination. And so, she, I think, was made to feel a little bit other in some way. But that didn't stop them. And this is I think, the last thing I'll say about what I hope readers take away from this, despite the fact that I know that my mom experienced that and everything else. I mean, everything through the war and my aunts as well as my godmother, who grew up right in that same time frame, very similar experience to my mom, lived in the Philippines and had a very similar experience.
mm,
But I saw them as women who were very, very, and they lived very full lives and they were very joyful. So, despite the fact that they walked through these very, very difficult circumstances, they they were very generous and they were very strong and very joyful. So, I hope readers walk away recognizing that it is possible to walk through very significant difficulties and still have a very full
yeah.
life and have joy. I hope that
Yeah.
ultimately people walk away with that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a great that's a great way of looking at it because yeah, somebody who goes through that kind of experience, it's possible that they could really not feel joy for the rest of
Yeah.
their life and just kind of dwell in that time. And so it's really
Yes.
wonderful that your mom and your sisters and godmother were able to, I don't know if getting past it's the right word, but they were able to move beyond it maybe and live a life because
Yeah.
that's the true win there with that war,
Yeah.
right? Is that
Absolutely.
war didn't take that away from them. So that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
It was a
Our,
huge example to me too. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt
no,
you,
no,
Tracy.
that's
I just
fine.
to say, I
Yeah.
mean, that really, it was their lives watching them. It was just a profound example to me.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
No, that's great. It sounds like you have a very loving, very supportive group of ladies around you, and I love that. I just really love that. We'll switch
Yeah.
gears just a little bit here and go behind the scenes with Angela. And what
Okay. Okay.
besides reading, what is your favorite thing to do when you're not writing?
When I'm not writing. Well, I mean, I love spending time with my family, a couple hours away
Sorry, I think we're
That's
experiencing a
okay.
little bit of technical difficulty here.
Okay.
Yeah, you're freezing up a little bit
Yes.
there, and
Okay.
so
It just,
yeah,
yeah,
sorry about that.
it went out. So that's okay. That's all right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I
So,
don't know what you heard of that. I
pretty much nothing. I think you
Oh,
started
okay.
saying, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It
Okay.
cut out right as you were getting ready to tell us.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, no, I was just saying, I love biking for exercise. There's a paved trail near my
Oh,
home
great.
that goes into a metro park. I love that. And just spending time with family. And we're not too far from Lake Michigan. And we love going there. I love going there. It's one of my
Yeah.
absolutely favorite places. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I lived around Chicago for almost 30 years and
Oh
just
my
outside of
goodness. Okay.
Chicago. So yeah, Lake Michigan's near and dear to my heart as well. So
Yes.
uh,
Okay. You know.
I do know, absolutely know. So what can you tell us? Has there been a recent book maybe that you've read and would recommend to our viewers?
Yeah. You know, actually, there is a book by it came out, I believe, Lost Baker of Vienna, and it is a beautiful World War II story as well. It takes place in Vienna, and it is inspired by Sharon's family's story also. Um, Her family were Holocaust survivors. Um,
Hmm.
I say it's a World War II story. It actually takes place immediately after the war, which is kind of a time frame that I haven't really seen very much written about. And I know in my mind, I think I kind of assumed that, once the war ended, things were certainly, easier.
Mm,
But in fact, it still was very turbulent for many of the people that were, just trying to. I know her family was trying to come to the U.S. and were experiencing a lot of difficulty doing that, and just in within Vienna, it was a very difficult place to be. So, yeah, it's a beautiful book, very emotional, and she does just a wonderful job. It's a compelling read. So, yeah, I would say The Lost Baker of Vienna.
okay,
Yeah,
great. All right, thank you for that. Well, before we
absolutely.
go, can you tell us or
Yes.
give us a hint about what's coming up next for you?
I can, somewhat vaguely, I can tell you, Tracy. I'm working, I am doing research right now, for another book, and it also is, inspired by a family story, and somewhat, a little bit related to In the Light of the Sun. It, would be back in time. So I'm trying to do the
Okay.
research for it. And probably if I am able to do it, it takes place in several different countries. So the
Okay.
research is a little bit challenging, but I'm hoping and expecting that if it happens, it is not going to take as long as In the Light of the Sun. So
All
it
right,
did.
great, great, great.
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right. Well, folks, when this episode airs, In the Light of the Sun will be out, so be sure to order your copy today. You can check out Angela's website at Angela M, as in Mary, M Shupe. I don't know that that's your middle name, but M as in
It's okay.
Mary, Shupe.com. Angela, what social media platform are you most active on?
Yeah, I'm most active on Instagram. So
Okay.
yeah, people can find me there, and my handle is just Angela M. Shoup. So
Okay.
they can find me there.
Great. Well, Angela, thank you so much for coming and talking with me today. It was great to chat with you about your debut. Congratulations again,
Oh,
and I cannot wait for readers to get a hold of this amazing book.
oh, thank you so much, Tracy. I really, this is a privilege to be able to talk to you here. So I appreciate it. This is lovely.
My
Thank you.
pleasure. You betcha. Many thanks to everyone listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'll be back soon with another great read.